Right now, the real question is, whose stupid idea was this? I blame Michael. And now I've got sound coming from that as well. Oh, this could go all sorts of wrong. Like already. Let's get rid of that. Hopefully it's still working. So, what we're here for? The main thing we're here for is we're testing stuff. Because I don't get time enough to edit videos, and we thought we'd try some live stuff. And I'm here, once again, as the guinea pig, to try out and see if we can do this. And I'm really hoping someone's going to post up, yeah, we can see you and we can hear you. I'm sure Mick will say something in a minute. He's got a vested interest because he's here tomorrow building his LC racing buggy. So, well, not buggy, truck. So we had to have a topic for tonight, obviously. And thankfully, PR Racing obliged in that they've announced a new buggy, which is nice because, you know, I like PR Racing, as you might have known from the previous ones with the 4-wheel drive, the 2 trucks, the many 2-wheel drives and so forth. Yeah, so going to talk a bit about the new PR release. And hopefully, I'm going to pause here for a moment because Mick hasn't said he can see out there yet. Oh, no, he said it. To be fair, there's like a 30 seconds lag on this. I know if, because we did test before the test. When we tested on Wednesday night, with the help of whiskey, we found out there's a bit of a lag, like a minute or so. So anyway, PR Racing, one of my favourite manufacturers, not a very popular one, not like X-Ray or Associated or Schumacher that you turn up one of the clubs and, you know, there's like hundreds of them around. It seems like most of the grid these days are Schumacher. PR Racing, not as popular, but in my opinion anyway, very well built. I kind of fell into them by accident really, because when Lee asked me to start racing again, I had a rally car because I was racing with Lee, and then I was missing the buggies. So Lee's mate Dom, who's now in Germany, I think, he pops back occasionally. I saw him a couple of months back. Anyway, he was selling an SB401. That one over there. Well, I say that one. It's a bit like Trigger's Broom. I bought it, and we bought another one for parts, and Mick got one as well. And we got Oliver's son, Mick's son Oliver one. So we kind of all raced the PR Racing. Anyway, so I kind of fell into PR Racing all by mistake. But it was fortuitous because it kind of fits my personality in that it's not one of the mainstream ones. I don't really like having the same thing as everyone else. I always like the odd things, you know. I drive stupid MX-5s and all that sort of stuff. And obviously saw Dom racing it. He was very fast with it. Me, not so much. Anyway, so I kind of like PR racing cars. Oh, and Barry's here as well. We don't talk about Barry. So yeah, got into PR racing cars, had the 4-wheel drive, got a V3 2-wheel drive, and then 2 years ago, they released a new 2-wheel drive, which is the V4. And it was kind of like a half a car upgrade, because PR Racing, they do tend to evolve stuff rather than just replace the whole thing. It's not like Associated when they did the B7. It's like, oh, everything's different. It was just a half evolution. They changed, I think they changed the rear hangers for the V3 Evo. They swapped out the gearbox. It was an old split gearbox for the V3. For the V4, they came out with their a quick removable diff option, something of which Mick was rather jealous because his truck's got a V3, and we had, there's a few weekends where we were like, oh, got to put a ball diff in that, and we just couldn't be bothered to take the gearbox apart. Anyway, so they put the split gearbox in. They changed the rear hubs and stuff. This year it looks like they're finishing the job because they're doing the front half of it. Now, over the last few days, they've released a bit of a teaser video, and I was doing my homework. I thought, right, well, if we can do this, I'll try and get some sort of graphical aid to what I'm describing. I'll do screenshots of the video and post up what they're showing. Luckily, on I think it was the PR News group on YouTube, not YouTube, Facebook. Laurent Martin's done all the job for me. Brilliant. Got home last night. I'll start snipping that. Oh, Laurent's done it. Awesome. There's also been a few videos of it on track, and to be fair, it does look fast. And to be fair, it's been driven by people a lot better than me. But it does look good. Anyway, as I was saying, this year looks like they're working on the front half. A lot of the changes have been around the steering and the chassis. We'll go through a few pictures and stuff, and have a look what they're changing. I'm pretty excited, and I suppose there's one question at the end is am I going to get one? Anyway, see if I can do this photos thing. If I just shuffle things around on the computer. Now this is where things could go oh so very wrong. Anyway, here we go. So I did double duty on the prep though, because the top photos here, they are the new one, the B. I haven't even said the name of it. Like the B10R, and the bottom one is the V4. And if I do some zooming and stuff and some moving of stuff around, you might be able to see it a bit better. Like I was saying, a lot of the changes seem to be on the front end around the steering and so forth. Right up through all the Vs, all the way to V4, they had the normal orientation on the steering bell cranks. Everything pointing forward, the pivots behind it. Well, most of the rest of the market seems to have gone to this reverse bell crank method. I think it gives you a bit more space inside, a bit more weight on the front and so forth. This year, they finally swatched the bell cranks around. So you can see they mount onto the alloy kick plate that bolts to the chassis. A bit that I really like, actually. Means you can just remove the whole front end as a lump and set it aside. Other things they've changed. If I flick through, it'll remind me, won't it? So that's the new kick up with the steering pivot sticks. I really should not be allowed to talk in public, It's all right, mix here tomorrow. And following on for that, that's the new chassis. Now, another thing they've done this year, which they haven't really done before, is they've got the removable electronics tray that everyone else has got for, I don't know, 10 years or whatever. So it might be that they release heavier or lighter plates for that, like all the other manufacturers have done. But whole new chassis plate and whole new side rails. The V4 introduced the new battery mount with the tabs that can spin around and hold the battery in, like a lot of other manufacturers have done. Prior to that, it was 2 carbon strips that stiffen the chassis as well. It was a first step, really. Oh, you can see the posts there for the stiffening bars. Yeah, that's one thing they did, and it looks like they're retaining that method of holding the battery in. And again, a recess there for the motor and some other back end stuff. I'm going to check chat now because it keeps on flicking up in the corner of my eye, and people might be saying nice things. Except I saw Barry was there, so it's not going to be nice things, is it? Oh, for anyone that wants to know, Barry's real name's Neil. So, oh, Zach's here. Yeah, Zach, you still got my V4, haven't you? Be right useful here tonight, wouldn't it, for comparison and stuff? Don't worry about it. I hope you're coming back racing soon, mate, because we're missing you. Want to get you back on track and, get you beating Barry. Oh, we got Paul as well. And Matt H. And Steve Bond. Oh, look, there's plenty of people that want to listen to an idiot. Oh, very nice of you guys. Anyway, so getting back to the car. As I was saying, they've changed the suspension. A lot of things they seem to have retained, which is something that I do like about PR racing. It means I can keep spares. They've got a reputation of being well built, and people have also said to me, indestructible. I've proved that wrong on many occasions. But it looks like they're holding over the spare parts. It looks like towers, suspension arms, rear hubs, front uprights, rear hubs, rear arm top mounty thing. I've got a suspicion it's the same gearbox as well. Suspicion. Well, have a look at the photos and you can make up your own minds. So I think the next photo moves us back further. Oh no, that's just the big chassis. Oh yeah, this is the other thing they've made a big thing of, is stiffeners in the chassis. So you can adjust the stiffness of the chassis. So, you know, if you're on carpet and a fairly grippy surface, you can put a lot of stiffness into the chassis, or if you're on a bit of a bumpy surface or a low grip surface, you can remove stiffness to give it a bit more compliance. So when I first saw this picture, before I heard that description, I thought that these two metal bars here were screw-in weights. I suppose they'd work as screw-in weights as well. You know, there's a bit of metal they screw to the chassis, and if they release brass ones as well, obviously more weight. But apparently stiffeners, and that's the same for this little T-piece sticking out from underneath the gearbox here. I've been looking at this picture. It's the only real picture that shows this. And I've been looking at this, wondering where it goes to. And I think it's the front rear arm mount. I think it's like an I shape from that. Find out in a bit. Nice location for a fan mount for the motor. They've finally switched from just screwing straight into the arm, so they're doing the same thing as associated with the grub screw and the nut on it. Another big thing that they've done is the slipper assembly there. So for years now, most people have been having the tensioner for the slipper clutch on the side opposite the spur gear. Right until the V4, PR Racing were still having the spring on the spur gear side. Apparently it makes differences to weight balance, because that's definitely the sort of thing that I will notice. And actually in this picture here as well, just either side of the servo, you can see another two plastic inserts that screw into those chassis rails. Apparently they're going to be produced in brass, so you can add a bit more weight and still keep the stiffness. Carbon fibre, so you can lose the weight and keep the stiffness, or you can just remove them and have a bit more compliance there as well. Like I said, same battery mount as the V4. Other things they're keeping. So happy about this. They're keeping the shocks. I've always thought the shocks were pretty good, actually. It seemed like they were quite early in moving to the whole 13mm shock thing. Actually 12.8, but I'm really happy about this, because I've got a boatload of them with all the other trucks and second-hand cars that we bought as well. Really good thing about PR Racing, you seem to be able to pick up second-hand ones really cheap. And, you know, the parts are quality, they last for ages. The shocks seem to be particularly hard wearing. Yeah, I click on again. So it's not clear if there's going to be multiple specs of this, or it's just going to be the one spec. If it's the one spec and everything is coming in the kit that's shown in the pictures, there's actually quite a few upgrades over the V4 as well. Because while the V4 used the same front uprights, as you can see in this picture here, they were plastic, and they only had the one axle height. These ones, which I assume are the same, they're the upgraded ones, upgraded alloy ones with the spacers that you can fit either side to adjust the axle height. I'm not sure if we've got any pictures of that in the V4 pictures, but you can see what I was on about with the spur gear and the clutch, slipper clutch on the same side. It looks like they're retaining the same hangers, maybe except for the front rear one, and pill inserts, which is good because I've got thousands of them, and anti-roll bars and stuff. But yeah, that comes as part of the standard kit. That alloy is an upgrade from the V4. And similarly, that alloy piece there on top of the rear hub, that was an upgrade on the V4. And that upper mount as well in the V4 was plastic, and this alloy one was available as an upgrade option. As long as I'm right with my hesitant looking at pictures and comparing them, it looks like there's still, you know, a big carryover of parts between the two. Looking at it overall, it seems like there's quite a bit of space in there. Matt's probably posted up in chat somewhere already that he thinks they've ripped off the B6. Not saying they didn't, but a lot of two-wheel drives look the same these days. And the B6 was a good car. Just saying. But yeah, it looks like there's quite a lot of space in there. One of the improvements over the V4, if I can find a picture of it, is they've changed the front deck. And if you zoom into this one, you can see that the front top deck goes over the top of the servo. It's very strong. It braces from the front aluminium kick up to the bell crank pivots and to posts behind the servo. So really quite strong, but making adjustments to the servo stuff, kind of fiddling. Me and Mick have been arguing all year about this, because every time he wants to fiddle with the front end on his truck, he always does it the awkward way, like jab it in between us. It's 8 screws just and the whole front end off, and you can get everything aligned right. But you know, it's fun arguing about it while we're in the pits, which is one of the things that Paul suggested. He reckons we should do one of these live streams from our pits. I don't think we can keep the language controlled enough to do a live stream from our pits, and take into account the sense of humour of some of us. Really not sure if it's a good idea. We'll give it a go though, innit? So the front upper mount is changed, which does allow a lot more access to the servo linkage and so forth. I'm assuming that there's still some sort of interconnection between the top of the bell cranks and the top deck. So just go back to the chat a sec, see what's going on. And Michael's doing better than me at the minute. Just remember, you're here tomorrow. Got your little area over there all set up. Got your own little special camera for you. As Stephen said, they all copied the Chaos Show. You know what? I wouldn't really know, because when I used to race when I was a kid, and the last car I had was a Traxxas TRX one. I loved that car. My dad used to take me racing. I went to see him on the weekends, and I loved that car. And then I stopped racing for years. And when I come back, Traxxas was just, you know, doing ready to runs and stuff. It seems like, you know, the TRX3 was the last proper racer they did. But yeah, so I wouldn't know if they've all copied Chaos Show or not, because I was not involved at that point. Zach, is the more stiffness to stop things flexing and breaking, or the to it is a better performance? Usually the stiffness is about performance. As I said earlier, PRs are indestructible. Yeah, quite a few has proved that wrong at the Truck Retta Nationals. But it's more for compliance over, you know, like jittery stuff. I've noticed quite a few people are even mounting like the shock towers on rubbers. So the screws that bolt through, putting a rubber O-ring between that where it bolts onto the chassis. So it's got a bit more compliance, and it takes out a lot of the roughness. The way I always think about it is, in a real car, if you've got rose joints or pulley bushings, it's really... Whereas if you've got, you know, like rubber bushings or uprated rubber bushings, it's a bit, you know, it takes out all the buzz and the rattles and the little things that will be unsettling stuff. So I think it's, you know, a tuning thing. Yes, Zach, you have broken one of my cars. And you have broken one of Mick's cars. It's all right. I've got spares. Mick, you should not agree with that. It's just going to be terrible. Oh, who's House of Carnage? Next meeting. Next meeting? It's all come what you're talking about. And you ask if I'm going to be racing. I might be trying to get a car around the track. Racing, not so much. And Lizzie doesn't come to visit anymore, Paul, because she works on weekends. There was a few times this summer that she said that she was going to come down. Then I told her that you weren't going, and she didn't turn up. This is actually legitimate. So when you start coming on a Sunday again, as long as it's sunny, she'll turn up and see you. By the way, everyone else, Lizzie's my other half. She prefers Paul to me. Right, so where did we get to before that bit of an aside? We talked about the rear hubs and the alloy parts of the standard. That's an upgrade from the V4. Oh, they've chucked the little shock protector on there. A lot of manufacturers are doing now. It looks like the rear mounts are the same as the V4 and the battery mounts, and again you can get access to the servo linkage, which you couldn't in the V4. Oh, I think they're new shock mount things for the top as well. Close up of the slipper with the spring on to the side and the metal chassis stiffener there. I think that's about a lot, but if I go back to this photo here, what I spent the last few days doing is this. I've been zooming in on this one like this, and getting the V4 up, and then trying to get that to the same sort of size, and then trying to work out if it's got weight further forward in it or not. It's a bit tricky, because what I noticed after a while is, for a while I was trying to line it up on these shock towers. Then I realised on the new one, the BT10R, they've mounted the shock tower on front of the block on the gearbox. On the V4, they mounted it on the rear. You can see the lump of it there. Unfortunately, not so much in this one because it's underneath the wing. But I reckon that is the same gearbox. Got the holes there for where the waterfall brace used to be, and they've got rid of with that little eye brace underneath. I think that little nub in there is just a little screw-on part that supports the body shell at the back. I'm pretty sure it's the same gearbox, which is good because we've got spares of them as well. And if it's the same gearbox, that means that a lot of the other parts will be interchangeable as well. So you know, if you prefer the old style slipper clutch, you can still use the old spur gears that we've got. Same intermediary gear, which is good because we stripped a couple of them at the Truck Nationals. Barry and Mick both did one in. It was just the plastic intermediate gear, but both managed to break them, and that's why the short course truck up there is in many bits, and the RM up there in many bits, because we stripped all parts out for spares. But I don't know, I'm thinking the weight is a bit further forward in this one. I can't put money on it yet. But again, the other things I was saying, anti-roll bars look like they're interchangeable, which is good because we got all them for the V4. Oh, and this nice one-piece servo mount here as well that wraps around the servo, which is another thing that the manufacturers has done. But apart from that, it all looks very interesting. I'm definitely interested. I got very excited a few nights ago, put it that way. I'm just going to check my notes because I did actually do some prep after Laurent got all the air photos for me. Just check my notes. Cheap secondhand, yes. Well made, indestructible. Gearbox, rear hub, battery retainers. 4 bell cranks, gearbox, shocks, arms, electronics plate, chassis plate, motor mount, slipper, fan mounts, alloy upgrade stock. I would like it if they were. Yeah, that's about it for all my notes. And now, if the vision has been going all right and the sound's been going all right, then I have achieved my objective tonight of getting through a live stream. The only thing that remains is, am I going to get one? So what this season has taught me, really, because at the start of the season, we got the B7 and we got the Mugen, and I spent most of the year swapping between the two. And what it's really shown to me is I'd be much better off just sticking to the one car and getting used to the one car and tuning the one car, and I accepted this as logic. Then I went and pre-ordered an Agama. So we'll have a build vid for that soon. But that's all right, because, you know, it's quite unique, the Agama, with its horizontal shocks. You know, that's not too bad. But to go back to the other question of, do I think I'll get one? Probably. Really quite like the look of it. And I really did like my V4. As Zach will tell you, he's borrowed it at the moment. It's a really nice car. It is really nice, well built. It just means I might have to sell a Mugen and a B7. So yeah, just have another quick look at the chat. because I've been very bad at this, doing two things at once thing, you can tell I'm male. Oh, House of Carnage is Ed. Alrighty. Oh yeah, Matt, you tried my V4 at Robin Hood, didn't you? And at that point, you said that you were quite impressed by it. It is a very nice car. Van life builds. What Mick is referring to there is that foolishly, just over a year ago, I mentioned that this whole racing lark would be easier with a van. I meant a small van, like Ford Courier size, Connect size, or Super Carry, or something like that. I thought, something that I can keep my race gear in and, not be unloading and loading stuff, maybe do some little electric things so it was easy to charge or whatever, and just have something to lie in and sleep on when we go to the weekend things. Unfortunately, Mick had different ideas, and we now have a long wheelbase crafter, which mostly has been used to ferry the rostrum at Saw back and forth the storage area, because last year I put some insulation in the crafter and some sound deadening, and we haven't really got much further. So really, any live build of that might take several years rather than, well, we're up to 30 minutes now. But we are going to be covering the build as a kind of a ultimate pit box kind of thing at some point. Oh, you know what? I'll just flick that back. Then now you can see me in all my glory. I'm really good at this. Nick, tomorrow you're doing all the talking. I'm just learning more buttons. Oh, Jess is here as well. Yes, thank you, Jess. I put a shirt on and I washed my hair. I've been trying to flog the B70, Paul. and Matt very, very generously offering to drive the Agama. I reckon there's going to be a bit of a queue for that one, Oh, but we will have a few of them kicking around because Mr. Zach in the chat, he's bought one as well. Oh, thanks, Stephen. Yes, this is mine and Mick's man cave, really. Mick spends quite a bit of time here. Bits that you won't see hanging around. There's some 3D printers down there that I haven't actually started up for ages. The real man cave, though, is through that door because we've got a bit of a unit, and that's where we'll be working on the crafter. And I've got an MX-5 that I haven't actually touched for about 3 years. So it's just a bare shell that we've got to rebuild. Nick quite often appears with his T4 transporter. He's got a camper as well. So yeah, we're happy with it. Thank you. Yes, and Rally at Saw. It is such a fun class. So that's what I started doing when I got back into it about a year and a half ago because of Mr. Lee Dyson. And I got a PTG2, which is a brilliant rally chassis. But it is a very fun class to do. I kind of strayed away from it. I started doing the buggies instead, but Mick, Barry, Charlie, Charlie's dad, Matt, they all race rally cars. And, either two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive as well. And the rally cars is both fun to watch and fun to race. It's always one of the more hectic heats. We really should get some video of the rally cars. We'll do that at some point. Don't let Mick drive the Agama. Well, it's all right as long as we're outdoors, because there's no walls. Cool. Well, I'm not sure what else to say, really. Kind of run out of stuff now. Bigging up for the next one. So, Michael is down tomorrow, and probably from about 3 o'clock, we'll be on, and he'll be doing a live build. of his LC Racing. Not sure you'll see it proper there, but it's like a 14th scale stadium truck. Charlie Smedley, he's got the buggy equivalent, and they look so much fun. I think there might be a few people that might be interested in running them indoors, because Saul's indoor venue isn't quite as big as the outdoor venue, and there should be a bit of fun in there, to be fair. And then Tuesday, probably about 6, we've got Mr. David Luxley himself of Sora fame. He's on the committee. He's a far better racer than me. He's building up his new car. Usually races two-wheel drive and two-wheel drive stadium. He's got himself a four-wheel drive. So he's going to be building that up on Tuesday, about 6 o'clock. Once I get out of work in time. So yeah, that's what we got coming up. And hopefully it'll work all right. So on the 21st, if that's a Sunday, is that next Sunday? That's not next Sunday, is it? Goes to consult calendar. Whatever the next Soul thing is, yeah, we'll be there. So yeah. Just going to twiddle my thumbs here for a bit. I'm not sure if I push the stop streaming button, if it cuts off the chat, because you guys seem to be having lots of fun in there. Don't really want to stop anyone chatting, but then again, I don't want to be sitting here like an idiot, because I've done that for 35 minutes so far. You know what? I'm going to take a risk. For all of you guys that turned up, thank you very much. I really thought I'd just be sitting here talking to the camera all by myself, and it's been very touching that you've turned up and said hi and stuff. Thank you very much, and hopefully catch you again tomorrow about 3ish for mixed bills. Okay then, guys, I'll catch you soon. Although this might be an elongated goodbye, because I don't know how to turn this off yet.